Hello and welcome to episode 263 of the Mark and Me podcast. As always, I'm your host Mark. Now joining me on today's episode is Doug and Dan from the awesome band Hoobastank. This was recorded a couple of weeks ago backstage at the Download Festival. I was lucky enough, as you may now know, to go there and record interviews all weekend. I did a total of 16 interviews and hopefully you've heard all 15 up to now. I released them over 5 episodes with 3 on each podcast, but this one was an extra long, exclusive extra episode for you guys at home, and Hoobastank now have their dedicated episode just for them. It's a great interview and a band that I've wanted on Mark and Me for many years. I've been a huge fan. I was lucky enough to see them over 20 years ago supporting Incubus. I love them instantly and I've been a huge fan since. So it's a dream come true and I want to get straight to the interview. So here's me and Doug and Dan talking all things Hoobastank. It's day 2 of the incredible Download Festival and I'm here with one of my favourite bands growing up. Genuinely, guys, I've been there from the start. So I'm here with Hoobastank.
How are you?
I'm really well. I got to see you, my age will show now, but it was at Wolverhampton. I want to say maybe 15 plus years ago, supporting Incubus. Do you remember that show? Or?
Yes. That was probably like 20 years ago.
Oh man, now I feel old.
I remember the tour. 311 was on that as well.
It was, I think. I think it's 311, you guys, then Incubus.
Yeah.
And I think they just brought out, I want to say like Make Yourself. It was around that kind of time. But what I do with all guests that come on the podcast, guys, is I want to go down like a trip down memory lane and I want to start it from the beginning. So I'm really intrigued from both of you. The first album that you remember buying that made you fall in love with music.
You know, we've had this conversation before. Well, we've been asked this before.
Yeah.
So, you want to
There's
start?
a couple. It's hard to say. The first like piece of music that I bought with my own like allowance money.
Yeah.
Was a single, a 45 single of Huey Lewis and the News. I Want a New Drug.
Nice.
And my dad didn't know I got it, and he was a pretty conservative guy, and when he heard that it said drug, he threw it away. So,
wow.
Yeah, right?
Did he throw it away or did he throw it out the window?
Yeah.
No, he just threw it away. And then I remember buying Weird Al Yankovic.
Do you know, 2 people have mentioned that this weekend?
Really?
Yeah.
Weird Al Yankovic was one, I think the first like full album I might have bought.
Yeah.
But the one that really got me into like music that would make the most sense now.
Yeah.
Was Van Halen's Diver Down. I remember going to get that cassette, which got me into all the David Lee Roth era Van Halen, and that's kind of what got me into wanting to play guitar and et cetera, et cetera.
Incredible.
First time you heard David Lee Roth play guitar?
First time I heard David Lee Roth. Oh my God.
What about yourself? I think like you've already got your answer in your head.
Well, I have it in my head. I do have it in my head, but I can't remember what came out first in history.
Okay.
But I think I bought, because you're saying the single, you bought the single. So I want to say the first thing I got on my own might have been the single for Will Smith's, or whatever, the Fresh Prince, whatever it was,
Yep.
The Parents Just Don't Understand.
Yep.
But I don't know if that... The real thing I bought on my own was Appetite for Destruction, the first Guns N' Roses, and I got it on vinyl, which I still have. So you had
the one that was like banned and withdrawn?
Yeah, I do,
the bad imagery?
Not only do I have that one, years later when we were touring through Europe, every vinyl place that I'd go to through Europe, and if I could find the original album artwork, I'd buy it again. So I have probably about 5 or 6 of them at home now. But I do have my original that I bought in 80, whatever that was. And like I said, I don't know what came out first. Was it Parents Just Don't Understand, or was it Welcome to the Jungle? I don't remember, but those were the 2 I'd say right there.
Are you going to like keep those as a retirement fund one day and be on eBay and you're like, I've got the original 7 times of Appetite for Destruction with the band artwork?
I did fuck up because we toured with Velvet Revolver in like 2005, and we were out on the road with them for 6 weeks and got to know them pretty well.
Yeah.
And I had thought to myself, like, I should get my vinyl and have the guys sign it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I would have had a couple of them except for Axl, but I shit the bed on that one.
It all changed for me with live music, and before you guys, even though it's 20 years, one of the first gigs in the same venue that I saw you was Green Day on their Dookie tour. My parents dropped me off, and that night changed my life. It's the reason that I wanted to be in a band. It's the reason I want to do interviews with bands. It's literally the gig that I was like, this made the hairs on my neck stick up, and that was it. Can you remember, even if it's embarrassing, the first gigs that you both went to as the kids that maybe are the reason you're here today? Even if it's embarrassing, even if it's one that you don't share with people.
I don't have any embarrassing gig moments. The first concert I ever went to was a David Lee Roth and Poison concert.
Poison, awesome.
Yeah. I remember being fucking blown away, just like blown away at how loud it was.
Yep.
It was in an arena. The production was crazy for the time. But I don't remember going, I have to do this, like I don't think I realized what I did realize is that at the time I was just playing guitar, like noodling around, self-taught. And at that moment, which is like mid 80s, late 80s, the music I was into, for you to be a professional at it, you had to be the most virtuoso, amazing shredder ever, and I knew I was never going to be that. So it wasn't on my radar, like, oh, you're going to be a musician. So I never thought about that until later, like in high school, kind of when the whole grunge Seattle thing, which I got into really heavy. And then I knew Dan in high school. When we met, we were in different bands.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing his band write songs, and me thinking like, oh, you can write songs. You don't have to just play covers of Alice in Chains, like you can actually write songs. It never really occurred to me like that I could do what I ended up doing. Not until, honestly, till the band started. Like we started doing it.
That's amazing. Is yours as cool as that, or?
The first concert that I ever went to was Lollapalooza in 1992. And so I got to see the Chili Peppers, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam. I think Ice Cube was on that, Ministry. I didn't see the side stage bands, which at that time were on that show. I didn't see them, but it was Rage Against the Machine. I think Stone Temple Pilots. I think Tool.
Jesus, man.
A lot of bands. So yeah, 1992 Lollapalooza.
I saw Tool a couple of weeks ago. I've seen him 3 times now, but I will never get over how mesmerizing it is. I got lost. It's one of the first gigs where I got completely lost and forgot where I was. I was like, where the hell am I? Like, this is insane. And I had to kind of snap out of it because the visuals and the sound and everything. And Maynard, he isn't actually in your face. He's just a presence on stage. And I was like, how is that so powerful? It's unbelievable. For your first ever experience, I don't think you'd ever top that. You know what I mean?
I remember watching it and just, I think I was like 14 or 15. You were probably at that show too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just wasn't my first show. That's
no.
But I was at that one, yeah.
I just remember, like, it had all the bands, a lot of the bands that I was really into, and seeing that as a kid for my first time was pretty surreal. I think I even danced, which is the last time I ever danced.
That was the last ever one. We're here obviously backstage today at Download Festival, and I wonder, with a band like yourself that's got such a legacy, over 20 years, which now I'm like, oh my God, have I forgot so much of my life, because I thought it was like 10 years ago. Do you kind of get nervous still? Do you look at this crowd and think, Download Festival, here we go, I want to put on a show, there's so many big guns on this lineup, I want to blow everyone away still? Or are you just like, switching it on, go on stage and let's do this?
I think I was probably the former 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these bands, especially younger bands, kind of go out with a chip on their shoulder. Not because they don't like the other bands. It's because they love the other bands, and they want to make their mark. I definitely still get a little bit nervous, whether it's a show like this or a fucking small little show. I don't care. I kind of feel like lately, I'm like, dude, we've been doing this for 20 plus years. I don't have anything to prove to anybody. And it makes it easier, to be honest with you.
I was going to say, that must feel really refreshing, that there's nothing to kind of reach out for.
It doesn't make it easy, but it makes it easier.
Yeah.
Like, I just kind of feel like, dude, I'm out here. I'm so lucky, and grateful to to even be here with all these fucking bands. The rest is just icing, you know.
Doesn't it just mean you can enjoy yourself more as well?
A little bit, yeah. I don't think we take it so seriously. We're not out there like, look at how fucking cool we are, you know. Like it's just us, you know.
Yeah,
it's just
that's
us,
great.
And I still like to single people out and kind of joke around with people,
Yeah.
and play some music, and then make everybody happy, you know. Like,
don't single me out tonight. If you see me, I'll have an anxiety attack. I'll be like, fuck. What about yourself?
I think that there are some nerves, but running into familiar faces, whether it's bands or crew members that we've worked with before, or bus drivers that I've recognized from touring out in Europe, you know, that kind of helps. Only having 30 minutes to get all of our gear up there and
That's
have
scary.
our crew guys
that's
line check.
the scariest part of the
Yeah.
whole thing.
That right
making
there,
sure everything works.
That right there is our biggest, hurdle, I would say, is making sure that we're on the side of the stage while our crew is setting everything up. You know, we have our in-ears, we have the packs on, and we can hear everything. And if things are not patched correctly, you know, his vocal could be coming out of my fucking guitar amp or something like that. And
I think that's one of the things. I'm not sure we're the only band. We may be. But, like, we're doing these festivals, and, you know, bands usually like to stay out of eyesight, you know. We're literally walking around on stage with the fucking crew, like, oh, dude, it's got to work. You got to make everything, and waving at people. And, like, it's not like some big reveal.
Yeah.
Like, okay, everything works. Cool. Now we'll just go hang there for 5 minutes until we play.
You said about your friends and crew, and obviously it's like meeting up with old friends again that you've toured with or you've had experiences with. Do you get to let your hair down after you've played or before you played and go and watch some of your friends or go and see some bands? Or are you just kind of getting in the mindset of, we're here to perform, we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll enjoy ourselves? Or are you like, let's get warmed up and go and watch someone else and get inspired?
I don't think we're going to have time to go watch anybody else before we perform. But our manager and we were talking when we were just walking over here, and I do enjoy these festivals because there's a lot more going on. It's way more stimulating than a regular headline show at a club or wherever we're playing. You know? But after we perform, we're going to be here for the rest of the evening because I think we're doing an acoustic performance at midnight somewhere.
I saw on my phone before I got you a big like flash up was like, surprise Hoobastank acoustic set midnight. I was like, that's awesome. Like the fact
that's
you can,
fucking late.
The fact you can, I want to be in
bed.
I'm
going to be home by then, but that's cool for them.
Yeah.
So after our set, we'll cool off for a little bit, eat some food, and then we will have time to hopefully watch some bands play, chat with some other bands that we will bump into, and just really like absorb it all and enjoy it.
An acoustic set, do you have to plan like months in advance to know to strip down those songs, make the dynamics so much less, or are you just used to it from the history of the band? Because I think it's like, it's so intimate that you can't hide away from everything. You've not got all the drums and guitars going. It's like stripped. I don't mean to make you panic now, but I'm like,
fuck, dude, way
really
to go.
Strips it down, doesn't it? The focus is all on you.
Well, we do play full band acoustic.
Okay.
We have a little, like
with
a
the old
little
brushes.
drum. No, drum kit. Yeah, maybe some brushes.
We're fucking playing full band.
Yeah.
I love this.
We're telling everybody it's acoustic. I'm not even playing an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, he's just playing a non-distorted, clean guitar.
I love this.
We're doing it. We did it a few months ago. There are, like, Crawling in the Dark, for instance, is played in a completely different tuning on, and I play it differently on the guitar acoustic, and I will play it that way when we play it later on this evening. And before we came over here, I was in the dressing room trying to remember how to play shit because it is slightly different. So after this, I got to go back and remember how to play a couple
I'm thinking
things.
of that opening riff on an acoustic. I'm like, are you going to strum some chords instead in like a slow pattern, or are you going to still pick it out
as
normal?
It's a little slower, and it's in a different key.
Yeah.
And if anybody owns an acoustic album of ours, which we did put out an acoustic record, the version that we play on that is how we'll play it tonight, or how we'll play it at the acoustic performance.
Yeah.
It's just totally different than the original.
We didn't see it coming as UK fans. The announcement that you guys were at Download, like your social media was quite quiet, and then it was suddenly, bam, we're playing Download. And it was like, oh man, this is awesome. Like, Hoobastank are back, we get to see them in the UK. Is there, I mean, maybe you're not allowed to tell me, but is there plans that it won't be that long until we see you again? Is there anything in the near future where you might get some shows? Or?
We're playing London tomorrow.
Okay, that's cool. So you don't
close.
see anything for 10 years, and that's twice in 2 days.
Yes. Yeah, I would say so. We're coming back. Yeah, it's.
I feel like you know, but you're not allowed to say.
We would like to. Here's the deal. We would obviously love to come back. It's a matter of cost,
of course,
and to be completely open and transparent. We're here, not making any money. Am I correct? Which is fine. I don't give a fuck. I'll come here for free.
You get enough water for life, but yeah,
we actually don't get enough. We had to beg for water, but
take some of these guys.
I think we would happily come here just to come here and not lose money. Because we love playing music and we love going places that we don't get to go to as often as we do in America. I think that like the simple answer is yes, we would love to come back and we want to come back in a month, but
logistically there's a lot to think about.
Yeah, there's a lot of hoops to jump through, and but we can make it work, you know.
Yeah, and hopefully this will open up doors to provide other offers in the future that make sense for us to come out where we could, tie it together with somewhere else that's out this way, So.
I hope a lot comes from this. That'd be awesome if we get a Europe or UK tour off the back of everyone going crazy tonight.
It has nothing to it has nothing to do with us not wanting to come here. We will sit in middle seats in coach.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't, but they will.
But I will.
But just to be here to play and make no money and then just go home, that's fine. We're not about,
I love hearing this, man. And are you guys putting pen to paper? Is there any demos happening at the moment, or writing, or?
There's actually been a lot of writing.
Yeah.
And I think if we weren't here right now, we would probably be back home having some kind of conversation of like, how do we record all this shit? Who's going to produce it? How, that kind of stuff. So we're kind of in and out of LA over the next couple months.
Yeah.
But when we get a moment that's going to be a conversation we're going to have.
We have a lot of demoed ideas.
Yeah.
Whether they're, just a verse and a chorus or it's a full song, like to the point where you started writing everything down. We have a big dry erase board in our rehearsal room, and you just started writing everything down, and we were kind of blown away. Like, holy shit, there's a lot of songs up there. Granted, they're not.
They may never see the light of day, but they're all, yeah.
Some of them are great. Some of them
There's seeds planted, and now it's about seeing which ones are going to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Have you told this to anyone else, or am I like? Is this?
I think you might be the second person.
So, did you tell those sapling guys?
Yeah.
You're the first person today. No, wait. You told somebody?
Oh.
You're the third person today.
I love those guys, though. It's okay. It's not too bad. And with your legacy of the band, I see a lot of bands lately, especially with the anniversaries. Would you do the whole album in its entirety tour if logistically it was fundable and it was financial beneficial, that you could actually go along the world and do this?
Yeah, absolutely.
If that was the offer, if they're like, look, the offer is to do the Reason record.
I was going to say, yeah.
And that's the offer. If you don't want to do that, then you're not going to go. Then we'd be like, yeah, we'll go.
I actually was saying today, it kind of bums me out that we have to do the album.
Did you know that we're doing the album here?
No, I don't think it's common knowledge. I think it's on the poster, it just says your name.
Yeah, we have to do the album.
It's too late now. Because usually we like to tailor the set to the environment, And so we would have been like, shit, we should do like an hour of like our heaviest, most up-tempo songs. But now we got to play a bunch of mellow tunes.
You could just go on stage and be like, well, we're doing what we want.
We could.
It's too late the moment you've walked on.
You're right, but then that might affect our chances of ever coming back.
Because I think in the deal it says we have to play it, right? Yeah.
But do you think it would, though? Like, I think that at some point, if the show was great, they might just be like, well, fuck, okay.
And they were brave. They did what they wanted to do. It's all about respect. So don't let me be the reason that Download now pull your contracts for life.
The second we play a song off any other record, they fucking pull
we
the plug.
played Download, what was it, over 10 years ago?
Yeah.
And so if we're not going to get another offer for 10 years, we may as well just play whatever the fuck we want, right?
Do covers. Just do covers.
Are we really going to get in trouble if we just do whatever the fuck we want, Ben?
Yeah.
By who?
That was a very solid... Yeah.
By who? I mean, we will have finished our set and be off stage and just have killed it.
I don't want to be the guy that does this, so I'm going to say make sure you stick to your contract, read the small print, do what they ask, and then hopefully you can come back and do what the hell you want.
Very true.
Guys, what I'm always interested in, and I think our time's almost up, what I do on the podcast is I try and make it as original as I can, and with bands, I ask them to choose a song that means a lot to them personally. So it's not a song by your own band, it's a song within the history of music. As this interview is all edited and ready for the world to listen to, the final track that is played is chosen by the guests. So, being both musically, it's in your blood, it's been there all your life. Is there a song that, when I asked the question, came to your heart and soul above any other song that you would love to be played? Look at his brain. He's going diddly diddly diddly.
I have a song that came the second you said that. It makes no sense.
Okay.
But what do you got?
I mean,
I'll tell you what I got. It makes
honestly,
no sense at all.
like what was the question?
Any song, man. So as our interview's done, a song that means a lot to you will be played, and it's because you chose it.
Well, we both probably have a song each, and mine, I don't know. I'm a huge Elton John fan and George Michael fan.
Tiny Dancer's one of my favorite songs of all time.
It's a great song.
It's from this great film, so it's
very true. I've been noticing that too, how they blurred everybody out. I mean, that's the whole shtick of the movie.
I'm only the fucking lead singer.
Yeah,
amazing.
But the version that George Michael sings of "Don't Let the Sun Go Down," and then he brings out Elton to sing it.
Yeah,
I don't know where that's probably out here somewhere.
I think it's like a rare, live exclusive or something like that.
I mean, that's probably the weirdest, or I don't know if yours is weirder, but for me, there's something about that song. But George Michael's voice, he's got the best voice I've ever heard of any human being.
The song "Amazing" is one of my favorite songs ever. I don't know how he fucking sings that.
Yeah, he was
unbelievable.
Absolutely amazing. And his songs and Elton songs, I think, are absolutely amazing. And that song with the two of them, where he pulls them out on stage and then they're singing at the end together, it's just so dope. What do you got, Doug?
I thought of this song that my mom used to play when I was really, really young. And I always loved the chord progression, and that it wasn't a square. It kind of goes on this long journey. And it was one of those songs I hadn't heard since I was young, 3 or 4 years old, but it stuck with me. And then years ago, I through the advent of technology, I'm like, oh my God, I remembered it. And it's on my phone, and it popped up on my phone not too long ago. It was Gilbert O'Sullivan's "Alone Again, Naturally." Do you even know what that is?
I'm going to not even try and be cool. I'm going to be like, what?
It's I think it's a British guy.
Yeah?
It's so mellow. It's such a sad song. Now that I'm older, I can listen to the lyrics and go,
yeah,
fuck, this is a really, really sad song. I don't know why I liked it so much.
All the audience are now going to be a real downer.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. But what's so what I'll end up doing now is I edit the episode. I then pick the piece of music. I try and snip it down to a reasonable length. Am I going to go down like a pigeonhole and be like, wow, listen to all these incredible songs?
No.
Is it just like a one?
You're going to hear that one song and be like, what a fucking random song.
But not if you keep in mind that it's not a simple square structure. If you keep that in mind, that the reason why you liked it was...
Yeah, it kept on evolving. The song, it doesn't go, E, A, D, G, E, A, D. It's not a square. It goes, chord to chord to chord to chord to chord to chord, and it keeps on going, but you never feel lost. You feel like it's kind of taking you with, on a little journey. And the lyrics, as I've gotten older, I go, wow, this is really, really sad. A sad song.
So now I'm thinking, my head's going diddly-ding. I'm thinking, do I release Hoobastank as a episode on its own now?
Yes.
And not stick it on the download special, and just have you guys, because I think we're probably at 21 minutes. That justifies an episode in its own. Everyone else is in and out in 10 minutes.
Okay.
So do we make this a Hoobastank special for Mark and me?
We should.
We make it nearly half an hour by the time I blabber at the start and finish, and we play that full track.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's fair on the song to just pick 20 seconds of it. Elton John's had his time.
And so is
He's
George.
okay. He's not going to be like, oh, Mark, you didn't play my whole song. But this feels like we should play the whole thing.
I don't know. Let me see if I can find it.
Is the song
Gilbert
12 minutes long?
Come kick your ass if you don't play it.
No.
And he's UK based, so he can find me.
The song is only 3 minutes and 37 seconds.
So that makes it long enough to justify Hoobastank Mark and Me special. I was going to say, play it down the mic.
Can't hear it, but it's a good song.
I want everyone to be quiet in the whole of download now so I can hear this.
Chord change. See, it's good. It's a good song. It's a bummer, though. It's a bummer.
I feel like we need to just make 1 more minute's worth of content, so it's definitely...
What you need?
What's your favourite film?
Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights is amazing.
It's a great film. Well,
what a
the
great
director's
film.
an amazing director, and I feel like all of his movies are so good. But Boogie
Did he
Nights,
do Magnolia?
He did.
Yeah, one of my favourite films ever.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Amy Mann on that opening scene. One is an
That
Yeah,
song.
that's a good song too.
My God,
that song is amazing.
Boogie Nights, though, is such a great great movie, and it was all filmed kind of around where
with Magnolia.
where we live. Yeah, and same with all of P.T. Anderson's movies are filmed kind of
he's a genius
where we live. Yeah, he's great.
Should we just talk film? Because I fucking could talk film all day long.
What's your favorite film?
Jaws is the greatest film ever made in the way that it tells a great story. The cast is unbelievable, and it's all about the fact that Steven Spielberg was failing, he was drowning as a director, and he pulled it all together. And like the performances from Robert Shaw, unbelievable. Quint is just unbelievable.
I need to go rewatch that. Now
it's
that you
amazing.
say that. No, but it is the actors in it, and
it's just
it's
a
been
perfect
forever.
story.
That was my son's first rated R movie.
Yeah, amazing.
He loved it.
But Almost Famous for me as what I do, and I talk to bands all day. I feel like that's my goal, to be like that guy and get to go with Black Sabbath and on tour and meet.
Like that guy, Cameron Crowe.
Cameron Crowe is a fucking legend.
Isn't that who that guy was supposed to be?
It's his whole childhood when he used to go on tour and be the guy. So everything you're watching in that film is Cameron Crowe's story.
Right.
And that's his handwriting, Cameron Crowe.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah, that movie was extremely inspiring when I saw it. I don't know if we had I don't remember what year that came out. And you're talking
about 20 years ago.
Almost Famous.
I want to say like 2004, maybe.
Maybe, you know what? We were together because there was a scene. You guys had seen the movie, and I remember you saying, "Chris, there's a scene in the movie that reminds me of you." Blah 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 blah. Whatever it was. It's when they're.
It's an airplane. When the airplane was crashed.
He comes out. He's like, "Ah, fuck it, I'm gay."
Yeah.
Like that's Chris.
That's so good. And it's like, and we're now back on track. He's like, the look of his face where it's so shocked.
Yes. Fucking great.
What a film. What about yourself? Because this is now opening up a whole new can of worms.
Picking a favorite movie is like picking a favorite song ever. It's too hard, you know?
Of course.
But to stay on the P.T. Anderson tip, one of my favorite movies is There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is no better performance than There Will Be Blood. Like,
yeah.
I think every scene that, tell me the actor's name.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis, like, scares the life out of me
I
and
just
stays
love that
with me
movie.
forever.
It's so fucking good.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know which P.T. Anderson movie I didn't love was Licorice Pizza.
Which one?
Licorice Pizza.
I've not seen it properly. A lot of people didn't really get on board with it. I just I need to probably watch it again and again, and then maybe it'll click.
I was bummed, to be honest with you. I mean, I love him, and I think that there's moments of it that are great. But Licorice Pizza was a record store in the valley where we grew up, and you walked in and they had a tub of Red Vine's licorice that you can grab some, and then you can go buy vinyls and tapes when we were kids, and then many years later. So
I need to come to your hometown because I'll just be like, I recognize this from that film. I
you
recognize
would be
this.
Shocked. You'd
it's
be like,
all filmed right there. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one, not as good.
Now we've hit enough time to justify this episode, Hoobastank. So now,
is this the Hoobastank podcast?
This is it. This is Hoobastank exclusive. We don't even have to talk about download, but thank you guys. This is it. We've now done your own special.
Wow.
I've had Sum 41, Royal Blood. They just got 10 minutes. Hoobastank come along, and you get your whole
30.
episode.
Career. This is it. We can quit now.
That's it. Don't bother playing tonight now. This is it. Guys,
I'm just going to go up and say, sorry, guys. We actually ended our careers about 4 hours ago.
Thank you so much, boys.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Elton John. I can't find all the right romantic line.
So there's my interview with me and Hoobastank. Amazing guys, so funny. I love the fact that it was going to be part of the specials, and then in the moment it just went a bit longer, and there's something really special and magical about these moments that you never prepare for, but it just carried on, it naturally progressed, and now it's become its own thing. So I'm absolutely thrilled with the way it came out, and I hope all you guys that are listening at home have enjoyed it as much as me. A massive thanks, obviously, to both Doug and Dan for coming on the show. It means the world. And if you're listening today and have enjoyed the episode, as always, guys, go on markandme.com. There's links for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and share this episode because it really means the world. I want more and more people to fall in love with the podcast. I don't have a marketing budget or anything like that, so it is word of mouth. So if you can spread this episode and share, it goes such a long way. I do also have a Patreon account, and the link's on markandme.com. You don't realise, but the podcast costs a lot of money to host on all these different sites, but also to travel the country and record these interviews for you guys obviously costs money. So any money that comes in via Patreon goes right back into the podcast. And just before I leave you, I want to say a massive thanks to the sponsor of the podcast, Richer Sounds. If you're in the market for a home cinema surround sound system, a TV, or anything to do with TV, video, and audio, then jump on richersounds.com or visit any of their high street stores. Right, I'm going to go now because, hey, there's so many more episodes to come up, which means I need to do a hell of a lot of editing. But as always, guys, look after yourself, take care, and I'll speak to you all very soon.
I promised myself to treat myself and visit a nearby tower, and climbing to the top will throw myself off in an effort to make clear to whoever what it's like when you're shattered, left standing in the lurch at a church where people are saying, my God, that's tough, she stood him up, no point in us remaining, we may as well go home, as I did on my own, alone again, naturally. To think that only yesterday I was cheerful, bright and gay, looking forward to what wouldn't do the role I was about to play. But as if to knock me down, reality came around, and without so much as a mere touch, cut me into little pieces, leaving me to doubt. Talk about God in His mercy, who, if He really does exist, why did He desert me in my hour of need? I truly am indeed alone again, naturally. It seems to me that there are more hearts broken in the world that can't be mended, left unattended. What do we do? What do we do? Alone again, naturally. Now looking back over the years, whatever else that appears, I remember I cried when my father died, never wishing to hide the tears. And at 65 years old, my mother, God rest her soul, couldn't understand why the only man she had ever loved had been taken, leaving her to start with a heart so badly broken. Despite encouragement from me, no words were ever spoken. When she passed